Stuart Scott is a guy, I'm a big fan of his. I love ESPN. I'm a big college football fan. And Stuart Scott is a really well-known sportscaster. And unfortunately, as I shoot this program today, he died of cancer. He's been anchoring on ESPN since 1993. And obviously, in the fact that he died at age 49, he's gotten cancer at a very young age. He's been fighting it. It's been well known. They've been covering that for many years. In my book, The Cancer Killers, I actually talked about Stuart Scott, a book that was written several years ago. And we talked about in the book is the fact that I was watching him on one of the shows during Pinktober, in October Cancer Month, when they really pushed the idea of chemotherapy, radiation, early detection, mammograms, when that's the focus of that month, is more this medical approach to preventing and curing cancer. And it upset me because I was listening to Stuart Scott speak about this thinking, here's somebody who, under the best of medicine throughout his whole life, ended up getting cancer anyways. Then it was getting what they're calling these advanced medical treatments, but was still succumbing to the problem of cancer. If that's me, I'd want to say, what's the cause of this? How could we have spent so many billions of dollars each and every year? How could we have been fighting this problem since 1970 on an aggressive basis when Richard Nixon declared the war on cancer, and still be in a situation now 30, 40 years later where a young man, a young fit person like Stuart Scott develops cancer? How could we still be here? When will we ever find the cause and correct the cause so people don't get this disease in the first place? That's what I'd be talking about. But instead, they're on the show and everything's pink, and they're talking about more research on chemo, more research on radiation, and the latest in medicine, and why we should give more money to that. And so I love Stuart Scott, and this guy was a real champion. Part of preventing and overcoming cancer really is the kind of mindset that he had. I can't say that if I had cancer, I would have had his great attitude. I mean, he said something, I'll read it here, from his awards show when he was getting an award on the ESPYs for perseverance. He says, when dealing with cancer, I also realized something. He said, I'm not losing. I'm still here. I'm fighting. I'm not losing. But I've got to amend that. When you die, that does not mean that you lose to cancer. You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and the manner in which you live. So live, fight like hell. Powerful words from a powerful guy. He's a superhero. I don't know that if I had cancer, I'd be that strong. And so that's why this upsets me even more, that we're not doing the kinds of things we talked about in our Cancer Killers program. If you've ever been to the Cancer Killers program, if you ever read the book, The Cancer Killers, we talk about the fact that the cause is the cure. We're told as kids, maybe you'll one day grow up and find a cure for cancer. Well, the reality is there is a cure for cancer. The cause is the cure, finding out the things that cause it. Recently, a study came out that said it's just bad luck. But that's just to put yourself in a victim mentality. And in fact, as they explained what bad luck meant, they actually further emphasized the point that I'm making, which is that they're saying there's just this random dysfunction that occurs in the DNA that leads to cancer and leads to most types of cancer. But it's not a random malfunction. The bottom line is, as we live poorly, as we are exposed to toxins, as our nervous system and spine degenerate, as we eat the wrong foods, as we lack exercise, become too stressed, this impact on our system will create random dysfunction. It will create the body to operate abnormally. It will lead to things like cancer and any number of other conditions and diseases. And so by addressing these causes, we have found the cure. In fact, my co-author of the book, Dr. Charles Majors, he found out that he had cancer. And like a lot of people, maybe they're doing some things right. Like Dr. Majors was very fit. He ate well, but he was toxic. There was other things going on in his system that led to the fact that he got a very deadly cancer. He had stage 4 brain tumors. He had multiple myeloma, and they only gave him a few weeks to live. They really didn't think he was going to make it no matter what they did with chemo or radiation or anything. We marched him out of that hospital in Chicago, took him out to other doctors that did other types of therapies that were natural. He aggressively addressed the causes, and today is still well. 4 years later, he's doing great, healthier than ever, because the cause is the cure. We'll get into that more in later shows.